welcome to Apocalypse Movies, and this is our Comic Hero Talk, our all comic book show. As you can see, I am not Jacob Bartley, the regular host. I am covering for Jacob Bartley. I am Jake Berlin, aka Qui-Gon Jake. I am joined today by Brian Avolicino and Keith Barnes. How you boys doing?
Excellent, eh?
Not too bad.
Yeah, excited to talk some comic book stuff?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we got a bunch of stuff to talk about, and we're gonna get right into it because we don't want to go too long. But we're gonna start off with Thor Ragnarok. The beginning of the week, we weren't really expecting much to see from this film, but it kind of exploded into everything. We got a brand new trailer, well, kind of more like a TV spot, an extended TV spot, character posters, IMAX poster, whole load of new comments, but we're going to talk mainly about the trailer and posters. So Keith, I'm going to shoot it right to you first, man. What did you think about the new trailer that debuted with the NFL premiere game on Thursday night?
I am sorry to say that I did not catch it.
Really? Oh, bummer.
Until I got in our group message and I saw you mention that. Wait, what? How did I miss that? Yeah, I don't know what I was doing, but so I didn't get to see that, so I can't talk about.
What about the posters? How about the posters?
Posters look great.
Yeah.
We got Odin. Which we're seeing, we got a poster of Odin.
Our first look at Odin in the film, yeah.
For the first time, we knew he'd be in it, but getting a good look at him. I mean, all the guys. You get the cool Heimdall one with Idris Elba.
He looks
good.
Awesome in his new movie. He looks badass.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what he does. And
hopefully,
without his hammer.
I know. Well, hopefully they use Idris Elba the right way they should have this entire time. Yeah. So Keith, Brian, what about you about the new footage?
I loved the footage. I thought it was just enough to make me want more without giving away too much, personally. I like that they give us a taste of Surtur. Just a little bit. I liked it.
Yeah, no, the Surtur stuff, it's literally like another half a second like the first trailer.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not very much, but it kind of just like
raises full body.
Yeah, it raises the anticipation. It kind of just gives a bit much more scale to what's going on.
Wow, okay.
The footage, there's a bunch of new shots in the footage. It didn't really reveal a whole lot other than the Surtur stuff. The posters are the standout for me.
Yeah.
They're awesome. I love the look at them. I put up on the site that they add a lot more color, what this franchise should have from the beginning. This franchise obviously has been a little bit dull. It's needed something else to kind of bring it together, and Taika Waititi has brought something major to this film. Something that people are calling, Guardians of the Galaxy, but I don't think it's going to be anywhere near Guardians of the Galaxy. It has a very much different, it has a different kind of tone and humor to it. Something that the Thor franchise should have had from the very beginning, but I'm very excited. Obviously, we got our tickets already. We're super stoked to see this movie.
Yeah. Ready to go.
And, out of all the comments that were released, it also said that expect a Winter Soldier-esque type massive change to the universe because of this movie. Yeah. So that raises some very, very big questions as what we're going to see come in a few months. All right, so our next topic, we got Drew Goddard officially announced as the writer and director for the X-Force film. This report comes from The Hollywood Reporter. It was announced earlier this week that Drew Goddard, who's been involved in Hollywood for an extremely long time in some major projects, will be taking over the X-Force film. Just some TV and film titles to recognize: Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel. He was the showrunner of Daredevil Season 1. He had a big part in Lost. He wrote a few episodes of The Defenders. As far as the film side goes, World War Z, The Martian. He directed The Cabin in the Woods. He's kind of been all over the place, and he's been a name that people wanted in the superhero world for a very, very long time. Obviously, he was going to write and direct the Sinister Six film. That never happened for Sony because The Amazing Spider-Man 2 kind of just bombed altogether and blew up that universe. But it looks like 20th Century Fox has nabbed him for the X-Force film. A little description on the movie. THR revealed that Deadpool will be leading a Black Ops team of special mutants. Deadpool, Cable. It's expected to see Domino, the fact that she's in Deadpool 2. Possibly Colossus, who was in the first Deadpool as well. Maybe an X-23 sighting. Maybe Polar from the future or something. I don't know. We'll see. But all we know now is that the X-Force film is officially a go. So, Brian, I'm going to shoot to you, man. First of all, do you have any prior knowledge to X-Force? And what do you think about Goddard being the one to start this film?
I'm not very knowledgeable when it comes to X-Force. I don't know too much about it. I've always assumed it's kind of like a watered-down Suicide Squad a little bit. But not watered down in a bad way. Just kind of a different version, if you will. But as far as Goddard, leading it, his resume, outstanding.
Amazing.
I mean, you can just name off one good thing after another, and it's all good, solid films, TV. So, I mean, with the way Deadpool's going and how popular that is, how funny it is, it could only lead to good things, in my opinion.
Keith?
Yeah, Drew Goddard, a bunch of episodes of Alias, which is one of my favorite shows. He's done a lot with J.J. Abrams over the years, worked with him a lot, which is cool.
J.J. Abrams Prodigy?
Maybe. And listen, nothing he's done, like Brian just said, I mean, everything he's done is, at minimum, has been good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing's been
Great.
bad.
Bad.
Yeah. So, World War Z, which I liked. And,
I really enjoyed
I
that
liked
movie.
it
I
a
enjoyed
lot.
that movie, yeah.
Cabin in the Woods, I liked until the end. I hated the ending of that movie.
Really?
Hated it.
The ending made the movie for me. Oh, I thought it was so inventive.
I'll be the decider. I haven't seen it.
I thought it was
Okay.
so inventive and interesting and just different from everything.
Made me mad. We gotta talk about that. We gotta talk about
That's
that
awesome.
later. But see, I thought it would be more like Lost, another show he's worked on. I thought I
ever.
wanted it to be a little bit more like that. But anyway, but yeah, all the Daredevil and all that stuff we talked about. X-Force is cool. See, I looked at X-Force like I like them better than the X-Men. Always did, and I love the X-Men. It's good, but I think X-Force.
They're down and dirty.
Yeah, like a cool,
Down and dirty.
Just the way they describe it, the Black Ops version of the X-Men, which I think is cool, and the way they do it, the way they describe it, and if they do it that way, with Deadpool leading them and Cable.
It's be hilarious.
Drew Goddard directing. I mean, that's
Deadpool leading a team is
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
it's born gold.
Yeah.
But I think the big takeaway for me is the fact that Fox is making a huge attempt to step away from the mainstream X-Men.
yeah. Which
They're
they need to.
they're changing things
Yeah.
and they're letting Deadpool lead it because they saw it was a success.
Yeah.
They're going more gritty, more dark. They're seeing the failure that Suicide Squad had, but also the success and how many people went and saw it.
Yeah.
And feeling maybe we can make something like this
Yeah.
off of the success of Logan, obviously R-rated, Deadpool R-rated. This could be something big. And then also a cool way to tie in the mainstream X-Men movies, throw in Psylocke in there. Because
Yeah,
she's usually a
Good.
big character in this team.
Yeah.
She plays a big role. You know, she wasn't well received in the recent X-Men movie, but Olivia Munn.
Yeah.
But I thought she played the character okay. I thought that there was more to tell with her. We don't know if she's in the sequel. Throw her in this movie, kind of tie everything together.
Yeah.
Should be fun with Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be an interesting
Yeah.
thing going on, you know. And if they don't have X-23 in there, Domino
Definitely
and Psylocke, and then Deadpool and Cable, obviously. You throw in Colossus. There's your team of 5.
Yeah, man.
There's your team of 5. You do a new thing in the future or whatever, but I think that they're just pushing towards something different from the mainstream X-Men movies.
Yeah.
I think Apocalypse was maybe like a red flag. Okay, maybe we need to do something different here. Change it up a bit. Especially with Bryan Singer not doing the X-Men movies anymore. They got to do something different.
Yeah,
so.
that's to get away from the Bryan Singer style. It was wearing on me.
Exactly.
Like I said, for for me, the whole X-Men franchise has been 50-50 at best. I love.
There's been 3 good ones and 3 bad ones.
And everyone loves first class. I like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I love Xavier and Magneto
Yeah, that part of the story is
dynamic
phenomenal.
more than
yeah.
any other movie. But
I think that it's good because there's seems to be more like the traditional side, and then the do whatever the hell they want on the other side, which is kind of the Deadpool side,
Right.
which I personally like.
Right.
I think it kind of makes it a little bit more interesting.
Well, it's different. It's also different from whatever Marvel's doing with their films
Yeah.
or DC's doing with their movies. There isn't a character like Deadpool.
No.
There's not a character like Cable or Domino or those type of characters.
Right.
And then including them on a team.
Yeah.
I mean, especially with Drew Goddard directing and writing this film, like, come on, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Plus, how many more rated R films do we have coming out of Marvel? None. DC.
Hopefully, eventually.
Eventually, but right now
Yeah.
they're leading the pack, so they could kind of do whatever they want.
Yeah, sure. Oh, for sure. All right, so our next piece of news, we got more DC stuff. Gavin O'Connor, the director of Warrior, the director of most recently The Accountant, he has been signed on to direct Suicide Squad 2 for Warner Brothers and DC. He has a big, long list resume as well, a bunch of producing credits, writing credits. But the standouts are Miracle, the ice hockey film about the 1980 Olympic team that beat Russia, one of the best sport movies of all time. Warrior with Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton, and The Accountant with Ben Affleck from last year? Was it last year? It was last year,
About
right?
this time last year.
So for me, I think this is probably the best choice of directors that they have been kind of rotating through. other than Mel Gibson, obviously he was kind of the top choice, but that was never going to happen in my opinion.
No.
But out of the rotation they've kind of gone through, Gavin O'Connor, I like him as a director. Obviously, Miracle, one of the best movies, one of my favorite movies. Warrior is just, it's something on its own. It's something completely different. And The Accountant, even though it wasn't that well received, it had elements on it that were very, very strong and very strong aspects of it, deserving of a sequel as well. So I'm okay with it. I think that it's going to be very interesting seeing him kind of tackle this type of film, especially with the problems the first one had. What are they going to do? Are they going to basically squash what happened in the first movie and restart with maybe just one or two characters? What I think should happen, and I told Brian this a while ago, but all these Joker movies are going on, right? Mm-hmm. So why not connect them together? You have Suicide Squad 2, and you do Harley Quinn, you do the Joker and Harley Quinn movie, right? And Harley Quinn is working with Poison Ivy and Catwoman as bank robbers, the Gotham City Sirens, and Joker's kind of a bad guy in that movie, kind of a side character, and they get busted by the cops. They work with the cops to break down to get the Joker, but Harley Quinn turns on later on in the movie to go with the Joker. Then the cops have to be like, okay, we have to call someone else to tackle these characters. They call the Suicide Squad. Harley Quinn and Joker are the villain for that film. And it kind of just like ties into each other, and the Suicide Squad go after Harley Quinn and Joker, and we see the movie we wanted to in the first movie. I think that's the kind of route they should go, is basically just give us the movie they wanted to in the first movie.
Yeah. Because
they basically failed at that, so why not do it? But I think making Joker and Harley Quinn the villains of the film would be the strongest aspect of it, especially after how the first one ended. Why not just kind of build off of it in the least amount of way you can or have to? Bring back Will Smith as Deadshot.
Definitely.
Bring back Jai Courtney as Boomerang.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was good.
Who else is there? There's we don't know about El Diablo, but Killer Croc. Even though a lot of people are like, oh, whatever about him, give him someone else. Right. Give him another director to kind of direct him. Maybe he could be something interesting and fun. But there are a ton of other characters out there you can kind of bring in.
Rick Flag.
Joel Kinnaman,
yeah. I mean, a lot of people didn't like the love story, but I think that you can do something very interesting with that character because his mythology is very, very strong. Yeah. So, Keith, what do you think about the Gavin O'Connor signing and maybe the direction they're going to take the sequel?
Oh, I love Gavin O'Connor. He's directed that we just talked about a bunch of stuff, great stuff that we all like, whether it's Warrior, Pride and Glory, or The Accountant, which I actually just watched a couple weeks ago. I didn't see it.
What'd you think?
It's okay. It's not bad at all. Yeah. It's pretty good. It's the action's great. And I love the performances are all good in it. I loved Affleck and Bernthal in the movie. It was definitely well directed. I like the movie. But as far as him directing Suicide Squad, what a mess. What a mess that whole thing was. It should have been like I always said, the Suicide Squad should have been The Usual Suspects. Or The Dirty Dozen.
The Dirty Dozen is the one that comes to mind.
Yeah. For me, people said that, and that was obvious, and I always go to The Usual Suspects with that, because just the idea of a group of all criminals or whatever, and get them to throw them in a suicide mission, that almost a certain death that they can't come back from, but something that they have to do. We saw the one guy
Slipknot.
Yeah,
he ran
away, which you knew that was one of them was going to do that so immediately. So, the way that Amanda Waller, who was really the villain of that movie, in my opinion, she's such an interesting character because I've always kind of looked at her as a villain. Because she's a horrible person. She's on the good side. She's a terrible person. She does everything. Well, who knows her motives? I mean, we don't know.
The motives are herself.
Yeah, pretty much. And so that's the most interesting thing about the Suicide Squad, traditionally for me. So I definitely like to see what he does with that. But yeah, everything Will Smith and all those guys. I mean, bring all them back. But they've announced so many things. This was one of the least thing that I was worried about. Gavin O'Connor makes me, okay. It's definitely. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do with it. So
before I shoot to you, Brian, here's an impossible idea. So we don't know if Deathstroke is going to be in the Batman movies. Why not throw Joe Manganiello in this movie? He's in it in the comic books.
Yeah,
Deathstroke is in his comic books, and he would fit very well with these type of characters. Even though he kind of works on his own.
Yeah,
just make him there's something happens where he has to work with them to get what he wants.
Or they're both going after the same thing.
Yeah.
because he's a mercenary, a very high paid mercenary.
I like that.
There's something that it's a race against. He's trying to get a nice big payday or something, and
so it's Deathstroke versus the Suicide Squad,
and they're both going after the same type of target.
Maybe Batman hired Deathstroke to capture the Joker and Harley Quinn.
Yeah, something like that. That'd be cool.
That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because people, I feel like I personally still want him as Deathstroke.
Oh,
me too.
But yeah,
I
sure,
want to see the Deathstroke character, so that's not a bad idea. Like you said, when it was announced he's gonna direct it, I was like, cool. I mean,
it wasn't like breaking news,
No,
and it didn't like blow up like anything.
I wasn't too like. I mean, I had my hopes so high for the original that now I'm just kind of like.
Yeah.
All right.
The anticipation for the first one, I
couldn't wait.
I was
the
so
trailers,
excited.
everything was amazing.
Some of the best trailers I've ever seen.
Oh, absolutely. And so now I'm just kind of just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, I wouldn't mind them reshuffling the characters personally. Give me Deathstroke again. Give me Harley Quinn. Give me Boomerang. Other than that, Rick Flag. Those four. Yeah. Other than that, I don't care about them.
It's going to be interesting too because it kind of has to fit inside the DCEU, obviously, and with all these Joker movies going on, and whether or not the Gotham City Sirens is happening or not, and how is it really going to work? And it seems like they're kind of pushing this movie forward faster than like a movie like The Flash or The Green Lantern,
right?
Or why would you do that when the first one completely bombed?
Man of Steel 2.
A Batman movie. Like, it just doesn't make sense kind of what they're doing.
Yeah.
And instead of announcing a release date for Matt Reeves' Batman movie, or if it's a trilogy or not, they're focusing on a Suicide Squad 2.
Yeah.
Like, nobody really cares at this point.
Not really. No.
I think they want redemption, but at the same time, like you said, no one cares.
Well, all these characters could appear in all these other movies that we've
Put Deadshot in the Batman movie.
Yeah.
He hates Batman. Clearly.
Put Harley Quinn and Joker in the Batman movie.
They both also hate Batman. So,
Deathstroke.
Put Boomerang as the villain in the Flash movie.
Yeah.
Don't do freaking Flashpoint yet, because it's the first damn movie.
Yeah.
Put him in the villain movie, and then kind of bring them all together in an Avengers-esque thing where they kind of go their separate ways as villains, and then come back together for a big job.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting. So, speaking of Joker, we're going to talk about the Joker origin film that was announced a few weeks ago, the one that involves Martin Scorsese, directed by Todd Phillips from the Hangover trilogy. News came out just right after the news broke that the film was going to be in development, that Leonardo DiCaprio is the top choice for Warner Brothers. Obviously, when you have Scorsese involved, a name like Leonardo DiCaprio...
Shocker.
Yeah, pretty much. But our own Keith Barnes here, we did an Apocalypse consensus list, and Keith is actually the only one that put Leo on his list. So I'm actually going to shoot it to you first, man. First of all, is this possible with it being an origin film? And second of all, do you actually think it's going to happen?
Is it an origin film?
It's an origin movie. It's an origin movie. They titled it Joker Origin Movie in Development.
Okay. Because, I didn't get that. I thought it was going to be...
And it's a standalone outside of the DCEU.
Right.
It's like the Batman trilogy, except the Joker.
Yeah.
Okay. It's interesting if they mold it like they talked about Mean Streets type of vibe, or would they say
a street level crime
street
film.
level, which
is like when you use that screams Scorsese,
right?
Yeah, obviously.
Absolutely, that's his whole career has been
Goodfellas,
primarily been
movies,
that. Yeah. So if it's anything like that, Scream or Taxi Driver, that's what they said.
There you go.
Mean Streets and Taxi Driver type of deal with Joker being in charge, an early '80s type of timeline. They said. I know we were all talking about kind of younger guys playing. I immediately, as soon as they said Scorsese, I thought DiCaprio in that role would be perfect.
It fits. It makes sense.
Leonardo DiCaprio, early '80s, Mean Streets, Scorsese produced Joker movie. Everybody that's acting that year, forget it.
Seriously.
Done.
Seriously.
All acting will end as soon as that comes out. I mean, that's when I first heard about it. It was like a Joker movie that's set. What? Like it's going to be a younger version of the Jared Leto character, because Leto's in his 40s.
Yes.
So it's not so they could do that, but when they said it's going to be kind of just like an else. Well, they didn't use that word, Elseworlds, but a lot of the kind of people are
outside of the universe, and
it's okay, sounds interesting, and it could work. I mean, if they can get DiCaprio to do it, I know that Todd Phillips directing, not Scorsese, but I mean, depending on how much Scorsese's involved. I mean, Todd Phillips, I know he's known mostly for comedy. I think he could, a lot of comedic directors. We just saw Adam McKay, who's been a comedy director, do The Big Short.
Yep.
He did a great job with that.
Todd Phillips also did War Dogs last year.
That's right. And
War Dogs.
That's right. Which had some
comedic, it wasn't as humorous as
people kind of expected with the two actors that were in it. So I think this could work. So
yeah, it's very interesting because it all depends on how much Scorsese is involved. Yeah. Flat out. It depends on how much he's involved. If Todd Phillips is going to be the one every day on set directing this movie, I don't see DiCaprio doing this. If Scorsese is going to be in the writing room, the table reads, etc., I can definitely see DiCaprio doing it, especially if it's a one-off movie. If it's just a one-off movie, they have a higher chance of doing this. Yeah. And it depends on what age they want to go for. Don't just get DiCaprio just to get DiCaprio. Yeah. Because when you hear Joker origin movie, an origin movie obviously screams a younger Joker before everything that kind of happened. So don't just get DiCaprio to get DiCaprio, in my opinion. My first choice, I first chose Dan Stevens when we did our list. He was in The Guest. He did Beauty and the Beast. He's currently doing the Legion TV series on FX. But after seeing it this last weekend, Bill Skarsgård is my top choice. He plays Pennywise for the film, which is a Warner Brothers movie. Bill Skarsgård is my top choice. If they don't get DiCaprio, I think Bill Skarsgård will be announced as the Joker. I don't know when they're planning on doing this movie, if it's being fast-tracked to do now, because he has to do the It sequel. But I think Bill Skarsgård would do the best job doing this film, because there's definitely Joker moments inside that movie. I'm the only one on here who's seen it yet. You see it Tuesday. I don't know if Brian will see it.
I'll see it.
Yeah, so, but as far as DiCaprio being their top choice, it makes sense that he's their top choice, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to get him. Yeah. And there's multiple things to kind of go off of. So, Brian, do you see this actually happening? Is DiCaprio going to put on the purple and green for a Joker origin movie?
I don't even know if I see this happening, to be completely honest. Yeah. Nor do I almost kind of not. I really don't care, to be honest. The only thing keeping me kind of interested is Scorsese's involvement.
That's the only reason I'm interested.
That's the only reason that I would be even interested in this. Yeah. Your old first choice was Dan Stevens. That would be my first choice.
I would not be. I would be so pumped if he got that role. I would love it.
He's awesome. I don't think Skarsgård would do another film where he's a clown, essentially.
But the Joker? The Joker name.
It's the name, but you're going to do clown movies, in a sense. I mean, granted, he's not a clown, but he's the clown prince.
He's the clown prince of crime. Yeah, he's the clown prince of crime.
I mean, it's questionable. Like I said, if Scorsese's not really that involved, I don't really care, to be completely honest.
Listen, they got Jack Nicholson to do it back in the 80s.
True.
And at that time, they weren't making these movies.
Yeah.
And that kind of notion was ridiculous. And once people like, Jack Nicholson, huh? Joker? So and they were in The Departed together. So
well, and it's you can kind of also think back to the Dark Knight trilogy. All these superhero movies, they weren't as big back then. You had the X-Men, you had the Fantastic Four, obviously. Yeah. Warner Brothers and Christopher Nolan was able to get Christian Bale, who was a top-notch actor or Oscar-nominated actress or actor. Excuse me.
Pass on Batman.
Right. How are you gonna pass on the Joker? It's kind of the same thing, right? Yeah. Especially being DiCaprio. Yeah. It's kind of the same name. One, they go in hand to hand each other. They're both just as popular as the other, and just as the Lego Batman movie did this past year, they can't have or be each other without one another. They kind of go hand in hand. So if someone's gonna be Batman, I could see DiCaprio being Joker, especially if it's a one-off movie, Scorsese involved.
Listen, I don't think it's gonna be a one-off movie.
We'll see about that.
I think their goal is to be a Joker version Dark Knight trilogy. That's exactly what I think.
In the report I think the Hollywood Reporter announced this, that they said that Warner Brothers is also developing a second DC banner of films that'll be outside the universe.
I just totally
Justice
see them
League
going
Dark wasn't that part of that?
Yeah, it's like
it's weird, but listen, it was 20 years ago, and he was at a different point of his career. And DiCaprio was almost Anakin Skywalker.
Almost.
He was
that's correct.
That close to being Anakin
That is
Skywalker.
correct.
So,
that is very true.
I mean, these roles, and he's been getting offered these kinds of roles. He's particular about the roles he chooses, but I think this one might. I don't know him
Scorsese
that well, but it could intrigue him. You never know.
All you have to do is say Scorsese, and he's probably already
Sure.
halfway
I
there.
mean, he's the guy that could talk him into it. So.
Yeah.
So continuing with the DCEU, or I guess the films, I should say, Ben Affleck, Batman, more news, even though we don't really want to talk about it. These are some comments that do need a little bit of discussion. Ben Affleck was recently in an interview, and he said the following comments regarding Batman. My status remains what it always has. I've done the 2 movies. I've always intended on doing third if Warner Brothers wants to make it. Certainly, if the bat phone rings, I will answer. So it sounds like his contract only considered 2 movies.
Yeah.
Nothing like 5 or 6 like Marvel does. And it almost sounds like he hasn't gotten a phone call for a possible Batman solo movie, which raises a lot of questions we've already had. People have been saying Ben Affleck's not going to be Batman in the Matt Reeves movie. They're going to do a younger Batman. We don't really know. I kind of get the sense from these comments that Ben Affleck's not going to be Batman. I think that they're kind of waiting it out until November, and then as soon as November hits or December, it's going to be announced that Ben Affleck's done as the Batman. Like, he's done with the cape and cowl. He's not going to return to the DCU. They're going to do something different. Flashpoint may reset it to a different actor or whatever they're going to do with that movie.
Thomas Wayne.
Yeah, Thomas Wayne can end up being Batman, whatever. But I get the sense from these comments more than I have from anything else going on in the last month or two that Ben Affleck is officially done as the Batman. So, Keith, what do you think about these comments?
Well, it's certainly the most clarity that we've gotten from him about it. This is a lot more than he said at Comic-Con, where he said, well, I'm playing Batman. Batman's the coolest character. Ben, are you going to be Batman? Well, Batman's the coolest character that's ever...
He's never answered the question.
So this is the most, I don't want to say definitive, but the clearest he's been on it so far. But the stuff keeps coming out that he's not going to do it, either whether he doesn't want to or they don't want him. Who in the world knows? I don't know. But... yeah, I mean, you might be right. I mean, we have to see how well Justice League does, and if he appears in one of these other movies that we were just talking about. I can't see him doing much more than that.
Well, he's getting older too, and I know they wanted to do an older Batman, but if they're going to do a Matt Reeves trilogy with Ben Affleck, he's going to be well into his 50s and probably 60s at some point.
Yeah, and he's got so many other things that he wants to do. I mean, we're talking about...
he's a director and a writer, and get back to that.
Gavin O'Connor doing a sequel to The Accountant, and he's got to be doing that kind of stuff, and any other writing and directing that he said he wants to do. So I don't... It doesn't seem like, from everything we've been hearing and just this, it doesn't seem like he really wants to do it.
Yeah.
So.
For me, what I got out of this is maybe Warner Brothers doesn't want him. That's what I got mostly out of it, to be honest. Like, he seems like he's gonna entertain the idea, but do they want him anymore at this point?
That's interesting.
That's what I got it.
Why wouldn't they?
He
was so good.
He's so good, but maybe they something we don't know. Maybe they don't get along. The directing. Yeah. He started out as director, writer, and actor. Yeah. Then he lost 1, then lost 2, then lost 3.
Yeah.
So I mean, it seems to fit. The thing that got me the most was him saying, "Certainly, if the bat phone rings, I will answer."
Right.
To me, that screams, I don't have an extension on this because they're not.
Which is interesting because all of his films that he's done, or most of them, have all been under the Warner Brothers banner.
Yeah.
That's very interesting to think about. It's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm kind of just done talking about it. Like I don't care anymore, and like let's move on. Give us an answer, and let's just kind of move on.
Yeah.
All right, so we got a new Punisher image, the Punisher TV series from Netflix and Marvel. Obviously, with the Defenders out, they're going to move forward to the Punisher because it comes out in just a short few months. It shows Frank Castle in his army soldier days. He's in the camo green, got a gun behind a wall, looks like he's taking some fire. Nothing too special, just another look as to what we're going to get in the show. Obviously, we've seen the trailers that it's going to go back into the past of his time, in the Army or Marines or whatever banner he's under. For me, it just raises the anticipation again for this series. The Punisher was one of the best parts of season 2 of Daredevil. I was definitely expecting to see at least a little glimpse of him in Defenders.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we didn't get that, but I understand
money
why.
on it, almost.
I know, I almost did, but I understand why, because the series is coming out just 2 months after.
Right.
So it makes sense. Give him his own show. Let him do his own thing. I'm really looking forward to it. The image, again, doesn't show a whole lot, but it just kind of... This show is coming, and it's finally coming. We're getting more Punisher, which I'm really excited about. So,
just like you said, more images gets me more excited. The only thing, and I know I've told you about it a bunch of times, I'm holding on to the hope that Moon Knight is going to come out of this because of his connection to the military, and they keep showing military images, which could maybe introduce him somehow.
If he's in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Something. I'm hoping he's one of the characters.
just like a name drop, or like just a 1 second
us know he's
introduction
there.
or something.
Just
Yeah.
let us know he's there, because that's the one character a lot of people want, myself included. But I mean,
He's been talked about for a
a
long
long time, and he'd
yeah.
fit perfectly on Netflix. Because I don't think he's a good movie
No.
type person. He'd
Give him
be
a show.
perfect for Netflix. But like you said, Punisher images. I'm ready. At this point, I'm just waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah. The way he described being in war, that one episode of Daredevil season 2, I think it was the 4th or 5th episode.
When they're on the rooftop.
When they were on the roof, and then when they were at the cemetery.
I think Cemetery was the family one,
That was the family one.
which
yeah.
was episode 4, because they
Yeah.
kind of did like a 4-episode arc, so it must have been like episode 3 or something.
Yeah, I think it was. And we got to see that everything he went through. Obviously, war is hell, as we know, and it really messed him up. Whatever he went through over there, and maybe we'll get to see how he became such a great shot, because they described
Seriously.
him in all the research that Karen Page was doing.
That's one of the best.
It seemed like he was like
Yeah.
really an incredible.
He was like Bob Lee Swagger and Shooter.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So I can't wait to see. What they show us.
All right, so we're moving on to our comic section of the show. We got 2 comics to talk about, and of course they are all Star Wars. Blame Jacob because he has not given us Secret Wars or Mighty Captain Marvel yet, which I'm...
Or the Harley Quinn.
Oh yeah, what the hell, man? Anyway, we got Darth Vader number 5 and Captain Phasma number 1, which was just released. We're gonna start off with Darth Vader number 5. A little non-spoiler talk here. This issue is awesome. There are so many things to love in this. It's kind of the conclusion of the 5 issue arc they're doing with this, but as the comic shows at the very end, there's more coming from this, and they've done 5 issue runs for a bunch of characters. But because it is Darth Vader and there's so much to tell between episode 3 and 4, they're going to continue it. But as for this one, it concludes what we've seen in the last 5 issues. He does some more stuff with the Bereshvow Jedi, and I forget his name. I can't really pronounce it. But there's some stuff in there with that. There's some stuff in there with him finally getting a possible lightsaber and how it comes to be. Some really cool past images, visions that we see that play a huge role in Star Wars, and they pretty much, like Brian and Jacob have been telling me for a while, changes the course of Star Wars forever, period. So I loved it. It's definitely something worth picking up. This 5-issue run is definitely something worth picking up. But Brian, we just read this about an hour and a half ago. How much did it blow your mind?
Loved it. Like I said, it's kind of a game changer a little bit. Kind of makes you question certain things movie-wise with Darth Vader. I don't know how to really talk about it without spoiling it, so I have to be kind of cautious. But I mean, this was my favorite of all the 5 that I've read so far, easily.
It's good. It's really good.
It's exactly what I wanted, and it really makes you question things.
It's very good. It's very good. But one of my only issues is, and I actually just went through Lords of the Sith too. I didn't get to talk to you guys about that, but I don't know how much of Darth Vader kind of pining from the past I like. I know he's using it like this. They do a better job in this comic than they did in Lords of the Sith, where he seemed just a little, oh, Padme, I miss her. Obi-Wan.
They're kind of oversaturating the stuff that he remembers things.
And I don't need that. I don't want that from
You like
Darth
the mystery.
Vader.
You like the mystery.
I want Darth Vader supposed to be the Terminator.
You want Darth Vader at the end of Rogue One.
Yes, that's what I want from him. And they did a lot better job with that in this comic, showing us some of that. And the way he just uses all that stuff to just focus his anger into what makes him powerful in the Force, dark side of the Force. So and the action stuff is good, and man, the way his dealings are with the Emperor It's just it's so bizarre.
Yeah, they have a
bizarre
very odd relationship.
You know, because Vader just like he's just like looking at him. Yes, I'll serve you, Master, and he's just like
he's waiting for the time.
I'm going to kill you.
I think he realizes at this point anyway. He realizes, look, I'm still the apprentice.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm still the young one. I'm still learning. But the second I'm not that guy, I'm turning. Yeah. I'm turning. And so, and obviously we saw that in Return of the Jedi. Yeah. We saw when that happened. But yeah, it adds an interesting dynamic to these comics and books and everything. Their relationship, especially in like Lord of the Sith and moving forward in this comic run anyway. But we're gonna move on to Captain Phasma #1, and this is gonna be another 5-issue run. And the main focus of this is that we finally learn how Captain Phasma got out of the damn trash compactor from The Force Awakens. It takes place after The Force Awakens. This one actually takes place during The Force Awakens and kind of moves on, but not a great issue. But again, these issues, the first ones anyway, a lot of them are just kind of introductions and introducing us what we're going to learn in the coming issues. And Captain Phasma obviously didn't get a lot in The Force Awakens. We're hoping that Rian Johnson kind of elevates her. We've heard that we're going to get what we wanted from this character in the next movie. Hopefully. They're giving her more backstory. They're giving her a comic run. Yeah. She has a novel out right now that they're focusing on as well. So it seems like they're ramping up Phasma for a little bit more. Yeah. I'm excited to learn more about her. I'm excited to learn a little bit more out of her origin. We heard about it in the Aftermath trilogy, I believe. She was teased, not mentioned, but teased. And so I'm looking forward to these 5 issues. This first one, not great, but there's things in there that I like that I'm really looking forward to the next issue. So
small connection to The Last Jedi, tiny. It was good. It's a starter. I feel like it was definitely laying the groundwork for what's gonna come, and the things that she did to get off of the base.
It adds elements to her character we didn't think were there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And more to her getting off the base. Yeah. Things we didn't even know.
Yeah. And like with her, well, we're not going to spoil, but some of the stuff that she saw that we,
or didn't see.
Or didn't see, exactly. And maybe someone's, there might be a traitor in the First Order. That
it's going to, it's going to add some interesting stuff going forward. See. I hope that this ties into The Last Jedi a lot more than we're thinking it will.
I think it will.
Because if it does, it impacts her as a character massively.
And makes her look a little bit more evil than she really is.
Yeah, seriously. So that's going to wrap up the Comic Hero Talk today. We got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about, obviously. We thank you for joining us. But before we get out of here, I want to thank both Keith and Brian for joining me. Keith, let them know where they can find you online, man.
Find me on Twitter at KeithBarnes79 and on Facebook at Keith Barnes.
Brian?
For me, TG Scoops on everything.
Me, Qui-Gon Jake, Twitter, Instagram, apocalypsemovies.com every day, this YouTube channel. Check out everything we got going on. We're trying to keep everything, with our busy schedule, we're trying to keep out as much as possible. We appreciate the comments, likes, shares, and of course the subscribes. Yes, let us know in the comments. Give us some comments, let's have a conversation. We're all down to talk more superhero comic book stuff, obviously. We love doing it. Again, thank you for joining us, and until next time, see you later.